All right, what's up, everybody? So I have the man, the myth, the legend. I have Mr. Steven Segura. Segura? Is that Spanish?
It depends on, yeah, it is Spanish. It should be Segura, but
Okay, I was. Wait,
it
so
depends on who I'm talking to. If they're really white, I'm like Segura.
And
if they're not,
I was like,
Segura.
I see salt, but I hear pepper.
Yeah.
So basically, I want to kind of introduce what you've built because a lot of people have seen the name Vivaabq over here for how many years?
Well, Vivaabq started only in 2016. I had another brand prior to that when it was doing a very similar thing called Redfish Entertainment. This started in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah. My biggest thing about connecting with other event coordinators or anybody inside of like the music industry, like I do a deep dive and try to understand exactly what they've brought to the table or how much like they've brought into the scene or inside their like network or inside the area.
Sure.
Technically, you brought like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equity in entertainment in New Mexico and in Albuquerque. People that jump into this industry, they have to be on crack. So this is not a normal job. This is not necessarily as fun as what everybody thinks it is.
For sure.
What the hell got you into this?
Well, so I was trying to talk to you about this a little bit prior to jumping on, but hold on. Let's save this for just 1 second, actually, because my wife packed me this little pack of just some things, some things. I just wanted to say hello, and I appreciate you having me on. This is so fun, and you for just reference, this guy does so much, and he's always gifting me. So I would like to just a couple things.
Oh, you're
one for the kiddo. I know he's probably got everything and probably some cool DJ stuff, but I'm like, who doesn't love some bath toys? Some bath toys for the kiddo.
Absolutely. So I just had my son, and then he just had his daughter. So it's so cool. So we both have kids now.
Yes, we do.
I fucking love you. Thank you so much.
I've got other things in here. But you know what? The mom I feel like she gets skipped often. My wife feels the same way, and we always appreciate when mom gets a gift. So just a little anthropology candle. I'm told the throw on a candle is what's important, and this has a max throw from anthropology. So I'd love to give you that candle. Or from my wife to yours.
Dude, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you guys so much.
And then some other things in here I'll surprise you with in the middle of the pod.
You were too much.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just had to get those out of the way.
This is a perfect example of like exactly like how just you are, just like in natural, just like in the wild. Because a lot of people just see just like the name, the events, and they don't just know about you. And so,
well, you know what? I'm like, I was in the scene. It was so much about me. I felt like for so long. Just to kind of answer your story. I've been doing events since it was 2009. Officially started Redfish, and what happened was I was working at HP. Let me back up. I was actually started in real estate. Started in real estate when I was 19 years old at UNM. And I was like, my friend was like, oh, I got my real estate license. And I'm like, you can get your real estate license at 18? What? So I just went and got it. And then I was just trying to sell real estate. And my parents were like, nobody's going to buy a house from you. They did, and it was doing really well until 2007, 2008, Bear Stearns collapsed. The economy just went through a huge turn. Real estate just died, foreclosures all over. The real estate business just really wasn't going anymore. I was doing some foreclosures. I did a house flip, things like that. And it was nice, but then I was like, dude, I got to go get a job. Yeah. I was trading then. I had no idea what I was doing. I had been making money, and then I'd bought these Goldman Sachs options, $75 options, and they just kept going lower, and I was like, I'm gonna get so rich because it's gonna bounce, and I just put everything into it. I had like $16,000 at the time. I put all of it in Goldman Sachs. They expired worthless. I threw my laptop against the wall. I cried, and then I applied for a job. And I applied at HP. And that's when they had just moved here. They weren't in Rio Rancho yet. I got hired. I was a 29th employee. I lied on my resume. I told them I had graduated UNM. They kept trying to verify. They never could. They just forgot about it because they liked me. The interview question that got me the job was, why are manholes round? And I was like, so people don't fall in. I wasn't the right answer, whatever. They just wanted to hear something. They gave me the job. I was in charge of their federal stuff, whatever. I did. It was really boring. It was really boring. I was in a relationship long term, broke up. Dude, this whole thing just happened and spiraled when I was like 21. And with that, I saw that movie, The Yes Man. I don't know, it's Jim Carrey's old movie. And he had to say yes to everything. And so I was like, dude, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say yes to everything. So every time everybody would ask me something, I was like, yep. Do you want to go to Santa Fe to go to this rave? Yep. Do you want to go? And I'm like, I didn't even listen to dance music. My buddy, I'm playing beer pong. He's like, do you want to go to this? We're drunk. Excuse me, we're a little drinking. But he's like, do you want to go to this festival called Shambhala? And I'm like, huh, where's that? Canada. Great. Yes. So I buy this ticket from him. He's got an extra ticket. I go to Shambhala. It's one of the craziest raves.
Yeah.
It is a cloud over this forest with a river by the Selma River Valley. It's amazing.
Do you have prior festival experience of like experiencing anything else?
I went to Bonnaroo. I did go to Bonnaroo, but there wasn't even dance music. Pretty Lights was the only like dance music artist at Bonnaroo. It was cool, but anyway, this one was all dance music.
Yeah.
And he invited me to it. I said yes, so I go with this guy, and it was the most mind-blowing event I've ever been to. I've never been happier. The lasers just shooting across the mountain. Everything was beautiful. I heard these guys, AC Slater and Jack Beats and Kill the Noise. And I was like, I don't know, but this music is changing my life. It's complete, like I've never been happier. It's sounds that I've never heard before, and it just blew my mind. So when I came back to Albuquerque, I was like, I was just on this rush of just like, we need AC Slater and Jack Beats to come to Albuquerque and throw these like this type of music. There's clubs and stuff, I guess, but there's nobody doing dance music. Yeah. So then I just started going downtown, all of these like places around here, not the jacket, but like a tie and everything. Yeah. I didn't know. I was like, I gotta approach these bars, and I was like, hey.
So the venues had like the strict dress attire?
No, nobody did, but I just wore that because I thought I'm coming from the business world, dude. I'm like coming from HP, like real estate, what do I know? So I go to, I'm like, who's the owner of this joint? Now I'm like, what are your average this on a Friday? And I'm like, how about, okay, we won't start paying me until we get to that, and then we'll split the profit after that, after your average Friday sales. Everybody said yes. Yeah. There was like no. So I picked my favorite venue. It was this place called Cosmo Tapas, and it was in Nob Hill. I liked it because it was close to UNM, and it had 2 rooms. I was like, I can do multi-genre. I'll do like a hip hop room, and then I'll do like a dance, like EDM room. Yeah. And so I did. They were like, I was like, what are we gonna do with a line when we get a line? They were like, oh, we've never had a line. You're not gonna get a line. This is, but I'm like, whatever. Line down the freaking street, dude, down the block, wrapping around. They were like blown away, like never been busier, didn't even know how to keep up with demand. Long story short, that's how it started with events. I started doing another and another, and then I started with my homie who owned Atomic Cantina, Leonard, rest in peace, my friend, and I did a weekly there every Thursday next to Bert's Tiki Lounge, and dude, stuff just popped off.
That was literally my very first question is, what is Atomic Cantina? Because a lot of like digging, the first kind of like, there's 2 things that stood out the most, kind of like doing a little bit of like a history check on you. And one of the biggest ones is like Atomic Cantina and like the stuff that was there. What was the craziest event that you've put together inside of that? So like, first of all, where was it? What is it? Because it's not even around.
Atomic Supersonic with Laconic at Atomic or something like that. I don't know. It was, we did these just funny like Thursday nights. First off, Bert's Tiki Lounge popped, dude. Yeah. They did these 50-cent PBRs, and it was College Central. Line was literally 300 feet long every Thursday, and this was next to it. So we were like butting up, and we were the dance music. They were indie style of like music, and we were like hardcore. It's dubstep nights at Atomic, and it was just an old little rock venue that has like a little stage in the back and just like a long bar. And my homie Leonard ran it, and he just like we loved each other, and like he just was like, he'd give me like part of the bar and stuff like that.
That's actually awesome, because there's a lot of, okay, so this is a little side trail. So how do you feel about like the venue culture and the entertainment culture now that we are in 2026 versus like when you were first starting,
Dude.
or at least like when it was like at that momentum where you were getting the ball rolling?
It's so much better now. So much better now.
Really?
So much better. I mean, people will romanticize the past, but it was just nothing but sketchy business owners. Dude, all the bar owners were just so sketchy. I mean, rest in peace, Leonard, but dude, guy, needed to get his act together as well. But like, there was just club after club of just sketchy owners, dude. And it's been more, I wouldn't say corporatized, but it's been a lot more professional.
Yeah.
And Effects kind of, I feel like, kicked that off. Joe Anderson does a really good job, runs a very professional venues. But if you go up and down Central, the libraries run very well. The venues are Sister Bar, like Zeus kills it, does a really great job, professional. And we just didn't have that then. It was just sketchy places.
It's so funny because I see like now a lot of like the entertainment culture now, I feel like people are so not aware of what there was back then versus now, and then they just complain about everything.
And I get it, dude. They go to these bigger markets. They go to Scottsdale. They go to Miami. They go to Denver. Yeah. And the hospitality industries are just so much different in those places. They are built for the owners to succeed, whereas I feel like the venue and hospitality, and we kind of went over this a little bit in our Discord about how expensive like a liquor license is, which means how expensive insurance is and things like that.
Just so you can touch on it, because I want people to know exactly, because they hear, all of New Mexico hears about the liquor licensing and seeing like the problems with like getting a distributor or getting approved or getting stuff like that. How much is it to get a liquor license here in New Mexico comparably to other places? Because I know you know those numbers.
If you have a dream, listen to me. If you have a dream to open up a bar or a nightclub or a venue of any kind, you have a little capital of some way or another, go somewhere else. I'm telling you. Don't stay in Albuquerque. Here's why. And I'll just go over these numbers. So you go to Denver. You have a building. Then you go to, you get your lease, and the liquor license comes with the building. You go to Texas, and you want a liquor license, they're like $3,000 to $5,000 or something like that. You go to Scottsdale, the most expensive part of Scottsdale, they differentiate prices within Phoenix and stuff. The most expensive in Scottsdale, I think, is like $30,000. And then you go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the economics are lower than these other places, and the liquor license is $350,000.
So you have a starting point. That's just starting, right? So in order to be able to accumulate anything for liquor licensing inside of a bar or a venue or anything, just to reiterate, it's $350,000. So it's like over like $350,000.
Right. So let's say, people can't afford $350 for a license, so they lease them. So you go to find a space that's $5,000 in rent a month, and then you now get whacked with a $4,000 a month liquor license as well, plus $4,000 or $5,000 a month in insurance. That's just to have your building in your liquor license, not to say payroll. That's not taxes. That's not liquor cost.
And the entertainment scene here is good enough, but it's not like popping like that where the alcohol keeps up with that demand, with how much you're having to pay in costs to be able to keep it alive.
The most successful operators here have like multi-businesses within their license. So if you look at El Rey, for example, Joe's got the concert venue. He's got a bar that's attached to it that also can be run on nights where he doesn't have shows. He's got the liquor store, which is a package license, so he can actually sell liquor. And then they've got the speakeasy underneath that. So he's operating 4 businesses under one umbrella and one license, which makes sense. You've got Sunshine Theater. He does the same thing with Bar Uno that is attached to it. So on and so forth. Effects has like 4 different rooms that they're running all the time. So it's a way to make it make sense.
That was such a culture shock to me, because when I came over here I come from like the Utah scene and some of like touring with some of the other artists, such as like going to Vegas or going to Miami or going to Austin, Texas, or Nashville, where like they're like music capitals, and then coming to like a place that has like nothing but is trying their best. I think it's amazing because it's we have a little bit more legroom to show culture infused into what we're
sure,
building over here,
for
and
sure.
it's just like we get to show like the New Mexican roots of how we do it ourselves. And so a lot of other entertainers, when they come over here, they're like shocked because they don't. How many music artists do you get that come travel over here to Albuquerque, and then they're like, "What the."
Yeah.
Like, this is like.
First off, I want to say the shock value on your face when I said go somewhere else if you have a dream to do was priceless.
Yeah.
But I only say that obviously I want the New Mexico to thrive, you know, but it's infuriating to see what our hospitality industry, the hurdles that you have to go through and the reason why there's such a failure rate. And I'm explaining it's finances. But the whole picture of the culture is something that you miss in these other places. You can go to Texas, you go to Denver, they just don't have like what you're saying we have. The artists come in here and they're blown away, dude. They love it. Valentino Khan last week like bought this whole like Santa Fe getup, you know, that he was wearing. I'm like, it's like 90 degrees and he's wearing this like Santa Fe jacket. It was so cool. But they love it, dude. They really do. And then of course the Breaking Bad stuff, you know, I don't know if that's like
It's
a
so
win
like,
for Albuquerque or not, but in some ways, but
we get highlighted in so many terrible, the realistic side of it is like we're leading the charts in FBI statistics for like 20 different things, and like missing cars, missing women, missing like a lot of different things.
Here's all you need to know. There's a show Cops. Do you remember the show
Yeah.
Cops? So they were used to film all over the place. And then they were like, wait, we don't have to like jump around from city to city. There's enough to film every episode in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So they just filmed here and the mayor had to kick him out.
Yeah.
Marty had to kick him out because he was like, this is a bad look on Albuquerque. You're just only filming here. And so it's unfortunate. No, I mean, everybody knows we have our problems. We have our problems with crime. We have our economic problems, stuff like that. But we have a lot of heart. We have a lot of soul. And I will say, like, the difference is the DJs will perform here and everybody's like looking at the DJ and being like, yes, and the passion and the love and everything for that artist is there. Whereas they play these bigger markets and people just have their backs to them. And they're like so concerned about bottle service or whatever, and they just don't care as much. And that is a big difference.
I love the formats that you have been doing. It's not recent, but like you've been like predominantly doing a lot of the shows in this format, which is like the 360 format.
Oh.
I want to kind of get a little bit of your understanding as like an event coordinator of like what's the difference and why you choose to kind of put a lot of your forefront into these 360s versus just putting all this crazy production just on the stage and then putting your headliner just away from everybody.
I'm so glad that you asked this question, dude. I needed to touch on it, and I needed a platform to really be able to talk about it that can like explain well. The whole reason why the 360 thing, first off, the artists love it. Like if you look at a lot of different tours now, like Lamala's tour or whatever, it's a strictly Borgos tour, 360 specific is what they want.
Bunt does that a lot.
Bunt is he's the master, you know, at 360s, which tidbit, we might be getting Bunt soon. Anyways, so the reason why too is because they love it. They can connect with the fans a lot more. It's kind of like an example for when they play Vegas and they're like kind of up there or whatever, and there's all this stuff. They don't know who's coming in and everything. People aren't really there for the music. Matter getting comp tickets. They're there for the bottles. They're there for the girls. They're there for whatever, and not necessarily there for the music. So they kind of have to play like a Vegas mix, and they're just like, you know, it's a paycheck. And sometimes it's fun, but most of the time, like a day party, it's like they're not like connecting. But when they're playing in Albuquerque, they are connecting. And then when you do a 360 show where you're like exposing yourself, you are connecting with that fan like tractor beam, dude. It is like set right in. It's great. They love it. So the reason people are asking like, oh my gosh, Viva is just bringing all these artists the last 2 years, been crushing it with artists. And I'm like, and then they're like, but we hate 360s. And I'm like, the reason why we are getting so many is because we've got a really good 360 platform that we're able to put them in. And then, and there's more reasons that I can quickly get into, but the artists, the most important reason is the artists love it. And they connect with the fans and they're having a good time and they're requesting it specifically. I'm not even selling it anymore. They're asking. We had Alley Cat, I didn't want to say some things. We had Alley Cat. She specifically wanted that. Level Up, talk to Alley Cat, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I want to do that." She comes. They say, "Steven, we want Level Up to come. They want the alley cat experience. And then there's all these people that are like, screw it, she deserves the stage with a pitchfork. And I'm like, dude, she doesn't want it. She wants the 360.
So now my next question is, a lot of like the artists that do perform here have the experience of like being able to go through Vivaabq and experience Albuquerque within the formats that you've been kind of putting together for everybody. Do they connect with each other, and then do they how often do you see that these people are reaching out to you being like, hey, yo, we kind of want to see if we can be able to come through your city, or do you have to do a lot of like the reaching out to everybody else?
I very rarely reach out. I will reach out for my absolute must-haves that are on the list of like, dude, I'm getting so many of these requests. Like Funt Case, for example. I'm like, we were getting a ton of requests in the Discord. I'm like, I'm just gonna feed the audience that's begging for Funt Case to come back, you know. So we requested him to come back, but 90% they're coming to us because it's a relationship-based business, and it's just all about the management and the agencies and like the agents that are now the top dogs, Jake Bernstein and stuff. Like we worked together for the last 15 years, Max Freeman, all that. They're homies, like we text. It's like, what's up? And they're like, oh, I got this new act, or hey, Fire, Kazo, when are we gonna do him again in Albuquerque? And I'm like, let's effing go, you know. And it's just a relationships-based game anymore.
I have to ask about this artist very specifically. So not necessarily the Steve Aoki artist, you bringing him out. What did you do to get him out his first time? Because I've been
said he wasn't going to lead me into any. No, just kidding.
No, like because there's a couple of people that have been pressing me to ask you what were the crazy hurdles and
I sold my body. Simple as that. No, I tried. They wouldn't take it. That was a really good story. And then, but really quick, let's put a pin. I just want to wrap up with the other reason on the 360s, and then wrap where I'm going. Also, it's because I want to use my favorite venue. Okay, so well, first up, my two favorite venues are Effects and Revel. And Effects, we started the 360s because Mr. After's Ata actually started doing the 360s there. We wanted a real big change up of Effects. I've been running Effects for 15 years now doing events. And I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool to just change it up every once in a while. Right on. So it just gives us a fresh look. And then Bobby's really invested a lot into that. So we do. Anyway, then with Revel, it gives me an opportunity to use my favorite room. I love the room. I love the refrigerated air. I love the clean bathrooms. I love the safety. I love the parking lot that it has. I love all of it. I love the ownership. They are family at this point. And I want to use the room more. I can't just sell 3,000 tickets to every show, even though like some kids like, oh, this is my favorite artist, they deserve to play Revel. I'm like, I know, but they just might not sell 3,000 tickets right now. And I would rather, and they would rather, and the agents would rather, we put on a great packed out show and versus like empty room. So, you know, we cut the room down. I'm able to put the stage in and then sell it as a different.
In my opinion, it's worth the ticket. Like no matter the price that you're putting it at.
We can do volume, and the ticket prices start at anywhere from 20 to 25 versus when I do a full room concert style show, that's extremely expensive. I now have to produce a 40-foot stage of a quality that I feel like I want to. That's going to cost me. So my production budget is 20 grand on a 360 stage. Yeah. My production budget for like Crank That is 50. Where do you think that money's coming from? It's going right into the ticket price. So look at Crank That tickets. They're like $60, $50, $60. The Zoo's like $60, $70. But like, I don't want to do that every week. People can't afford that, but they can afford $20.
So what you've obviously have seen a lot of the stuff that has been going on in the news with like Ticketmaster and like Live Nation and all these different types of things of like some of the price gouging that they've been doing. What is your opinion on like this like blue dot fever where like artists that are at like tremendous levels such as like Post Malone, Jelly Roll and stuff like that, they're selling out arenas, but then certain different areas are just completely empty.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the pricing is like $400 just for like a general
Boots in the
admission.
Park was like $200. You know, it was a weekend, but I feel like that was worth it. You know,
that's a festival.
It was a festival, but it was like a show that was based on them. It's basically like two pavilion shows back to back is what it was. Although it did have multi-stage, so you're absolutely right. It was a fest. But look at the event prices of like Live Nation's venue, the First Financial Journal Pavilions. I'm always going to call it. Like the Rufus Du Sol tickets were like $100 for grass. You know.
Yeah.
So to answer it, I think that when city has a lot of things going on, then people have to really pick and choose. I feel like in Albuquerque, there's not maybe as much. So when you bring some really jazzy names that, like to Bloom Park, like Boots in the Park did, the whole city just rallies around it, and it works. So I don't know. I don't really have much more to say on like the cities that aren't selling as well because the price might be cost prohibitive. I feel like Albuquerque should be the city with the most cost prohibitiveness, but it still does well when you bring a lot of jazzy names. It just has to be the right names and the right experience. And we can go back to Aoki too.
What is it? You just opened up a whole box of worms for me. So because, what is the most expensive ticket you've ever sold?
It was Chris Lake, and that one wasn't even is that crazy? I mean, it was pretty expensive though. But Chris Lake, I think the VIP mezzanine was like 110 or 120, something like that maybe. But and then the GA sold out around 85. Okay. So nothing like insano.
The production was amazing, though.
That was worth every penny, dude. And that's the reason. I'm like, you want to hit, big league pitches, you got to like, or you want to play big league ball, you got to hit big league pitches. And if you want a production of that size, you're going to have to pay for it.
I wouldn't expect like a 3,000 cap for the amount of the dynamicness that they put inside of a venue like that. It felt very intimate, even though it was 3,000 people. It was just so large.
For sure.
It just made everybody feel like right there.
Dude,
plus,
that was a great one.
Like the lights being over everybody's head is what it felt like Vegas. Just straight up.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was probably millions of dollars in production that went into that. I mean, it was 3 semi-trucks worth of production just to fill Revel stage. And I mean, it costs. Like, there's 30-person crew working it, and there was a lot that goes into it. And that's why it costs so much.
So I've seen the Steve Aoki, but over at Revel.
Yeah.
But the fun one was basically when you did it the first time. So what happened at that situation?
That dude gets better and better every time. I swear the show gets better and better. He is the most professional entertainer I've ever had. I mean, he can just entertain you. He is you just can't stop watching him, whether it's throwing the cakes or, whatever, running around with his shirt off. I don't know. He's just really entertaining dude. But the first time we ever brought him was kind of going to, when I was doing these shows at like Atomic and stuff like that, I was like, oh, my dream would be to throw a show at Sunshine Theater. Yeah. Someday I want to throw a show at Sunshine Theater. That would be my dream. Yeah. And so
was Joe owning it and
running it? He ran it, and so he gave me the in at Launchpad, and actually AC Slater was my first Launchpad show. Sold out. We did 21 plus, had like 500 people way over the cap. Anyway, in there, and they had the biggest bar sales night they'd ever had in the 8 or 9 years that he had been running it at the time. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I came back around and did it with Kill the Noise, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is working. So I did this band called Savoy. Yeah. We just kept selling out. Joe's like, hey, we got Sunshine. I'm like, right on. So I write Joe a check for a 3-show minimum. So it was like he charged me rent like $2 or $3 grand, maybe $2,500, I don't know, per show. So let's say it's 3. So I gave him like $9 grand for 3 shows. I put 3 shows in there in a row. First one, bombed. Second one, bombed. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't have any more money. And then the last one was Steve Aoki, and it was like St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, I got this one, baby. And there was this company, SMG in Tuzani, and they wanted to kick me out of Albuquerque and get me out of Sunshine. So they were booking shows at the same venue. They booked one the night before for $10. It's just try to hurt my economics, which they did a little bit, but the show still did really well. And I had always done 50% of the money up front, 50% night of show, and that's just the way we did it back then. Now it's all paid up front. But they... the Aoki's people called me and they were like, we need the rest of the money, or he's not getting on the flight. And I was like, excuse me, what about the whole night of show? And they're like, dude, we don't know you. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like begging, hold my ticket. Can I get it in advance? I'm like asking Joe, can I get an advance? Like everywhere. No, everybody's like, dude, go kick rocks. So I had just paid off my car and I was so proud of that. And I had this like Acura TL from when I did real estate. And it was worth like maybe 13, 14. I made a YouTube video about it, put it up for like 10 grand. And some dude watched the YouTube video and was like, sold. And I sold it in a day. And he gave me the cash.
Wait. You marketed out there that you were selling your car on YouTube.
On YouTube. And I sold it via YouTube because they liked the features that I was showing. He was like, "That's the coolest car ever." And I was like, locally. And I put it on my Facebook, and they could watch the video.
That's crazy.
And they were like, he was like, "I want to buy it." And I was like, "Okay, cool. That's amazing. Meet me at the bank." So he gave me like 10 grand for it, and then I used that to pay the rest of Aoki's fee. I think it was like 15 grand total or something. I don't remember. And
so did you just like walk to the show or something? Like what are you doing?
Pretty much, yeah. I had like a friend drive me or something. And so, but I had paid him. And actually, no. You know what I did? I borrowed my mom's car. She had a Tahoe. And I borrowed her Tahoe because it was clean, and I picked him up from the airport, and first thing he says was like, because the whole reason why this happened too was that I go to Bert's Tiki Lounge because I heard Jesse Pinkman is freaking at Bert's, and so I'm like, I run down to Bert's, I have an Aoki flyer in my pocket, I run into him right as he's leaving, and I'm like, hey! And I was like, Aaron, you should come to my show. I know you're in town filming Breaking Bad, and he's like, what's up? He looks at it, he's like, you bringing Steve? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, hold up. Calls him. He's like, Steve, I hear you're coming to Albuquerque. This guy just handed me a flyer. He said he's bringing you out. I was like, yeah, and it just, this whole interaction happened right there. And they hooked up. They're like, great, awesome. I can't wait to see you when you're out. You're gonna come to the studio. We'll, do whatever. So I pick him up at the airport. He has me drop him off at this go-kart place where they're filming a Breaking Bad episode. And I drop him off there, and he's wearing that Aoki shirt with his face just outlined in like a white shirt. And he brought one for Jesse. Jesse wore it on the show.
So
dude, he sold 1 million T-shirts after that, just from that.
Because there's a few moments within that venue. Like Sunshine Theater has had a couple of moments throughout like the history of its existence that are like pinnacle, like musical history moments in Albuquerque. Like one of the most notorious ones is like when Shaggy was blowing up at the same time and his music was blowing up out of Hawaii and everywhere in the rest of the country now caught on fire, and he was the first sold out show in Albuquerque with Shaggy, by the way. But like this is one of those where you're not only bringing an EDM artist that you're like killing yourself to make sure that they show up, but also on top of it you had Breaking Bad show. Like was it just Aaron or was it
No, it was so crazy. So he spends a whole day on the set, gives him the T-shirt, Aaron wears it like I said. He brings the whole freaking cast and crew to the show, asks me to list them all, get them all backstage. I'm like, cool, we're all hanging out in the green room. They all like come up. Steve used to do this thing called white raver rafting, kind of like white water rafting. And he would throw inflatables out into the crowd and jump and raft on the inflatables in the crowd. And so Pinkman was like, I gotta do this. So they both go out on the stage and do the rafting. And then they're like, girls like pinching Jesse's butt. So I'm like trying to bring him back in. And like the whole cast and crew, you can see like there's a YouTube video about it. And they're all on the stage. And we just had a great, great time. Yeah.
I want to know what your next event after that is like, because like when
well, I couldn't actually, it was non-existent at Sunshine. Here's why. Because I'm having success there, so it's a very competitive business. SMG2 Zany were like, yo, this Redfish fella seems to be doing good with his EDM. Get him out. He and they were partners with Joe for years, so they have a lot of history together. I'm just this new guy. Joe really liked me, but he was like, yo, I've been partners with them. They don't want me to let you do shows here anymore. So I'm like, get out of town. I finally find a little success and you kick me out. Yeah. So then I have no venue. And now I'm doing like dancing. Agents hear about the Aoki stuff. They're like trying to throw me tours. And I'm like, I can't do them anywhere. Like I like effects opened their doors, wide open for me to do shows there, but it's not a concert style venue. It's a club. But I would try to bring what I could there. Sister ended up opening. I tried to everything, and so I went to the state fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this one it gets a little crazy. But I go to the state fairgrounds. They have this venue called Via Hispana. They're trying to do everything they can to bring younger people into the fair. And so I'm meeting with them. Dude, we all become like family. Like I do like a couple shows. I brought Marcus Schultz. That bombed. But it's a beautiful venue. And I'm like, I know I can get this thing to work. So then I do this event. I partner with my homie Al out of Denver. And he owns a company, and they do like themed events. We do a foam party, and dude, it's blowing up, man. It is the talk of the town. And I'm like, we are gonna put a well-produced, like good, like concert-style rave together here, and and we did. And then unfortunately, there's horrid, the worst possible thing you could ever imagine happening at a venue and at an event. And a girl took some drugs in the parking lot, and she OD'd when she came in. And I mean, we had security there that pulled her fast, and we had EMT on site we had ambulance on site. So they were like, get her in. They put her in, took her down, and we heard like within 30 minutes or something that she didn't make it. It was the saddest thing ever. I mean, 14-year-old girl had her whole entire life together. Really, really terrible. I wanted to quit doing events. My face was plastered all over the news. This guy, Redfish Entertainment, blah, blah, blah. And I remember Joe Anderson actually texted me, and my partners, Relentless Beats, they weren't my partners at the time, but the owner of Relentless Beats texted me too, and they were like, dude, you got to keep going, man. Like, I remember Joe was like, the week I opened Sunshine Theater, this horrific incident happened where a girl, died too. And it's like, you got to keep going. Like, there's nobody that's going to be safer for doing these kind of events than you now that you've like gone through this. Like, you'll make sure that you're always on the up and up. And I'm like, damn right, dude.
I run into, I don't know how many event coordinators that think it's just all like sunshine and easy to do. And it's like, oh, if I have enough connections, or if I have enough money, or if I have enough resources, it's like easy. But then when you get thrown like a curveball like that, how long did it take you from point A to point B to get back on?
Took me about a year. Well, that was in 2012. It took me almost 2 years actually. So I mean, I was doing like events and stuff, but nothing with like the same mustard and energy. And everything was pretty much 21 plus at the time. I really just stuck with effects, and I just did 21 plus. I was like, I don't want to do anything where there's going to be involvement of like anybody underage anymore, and like it really wrecked me pretty hard and heavy. I mean, not as obviously as much as the family or anything, but
because obviously I'm gonna be honest with you, with a lot of like the electronic culture, that is part of a lot of people go on psychedelics, or they try to
that's
make
just
it
concert
normal.
culture.
They overall,
you
like
go to a
every
metal
industry,
show and they're on.
Oh yeah, no, they're
different
awesome.
things. You go to a hip hop show and they're on something. So it's just an unfortunate substance abuse issue, I think, in the music industry when people go in nightlife and stuff. And I'm completely sober, which I'm not saying I didn't have my time where I went through all that as well, but. It's a sad part of the industry. I feel like it's very unfulfilling, and I wish that more people were sober, honestly.
Obviously, like, your audience is going to basically come back with some of the experiences that you're throwing and stuff like that. And when you go through a situation like that, what was the biggest hurdle that you had to deal with possibly outside resources such as like the city or some of these outside like people that kind of handle permits, stuff like that, seeing stuff like that? Like,
well, so the state, that was a state-owned venue, and they still have not allowed like a dance music event to happen anywhere on the fairgrounds since then. Could they imagine if Dan Morning is still running the place, and they imagine if they did another event and there was another incident, the flack that they would get. So I totally understand. It's just super unfortunate, So with the state, there's been a lot of that was it. They were done. I couldn't do another event there forever, and so with that, I didn't have an event space at all. I'm back to square one. I thought I had a place to bring tours and stuff. Now I don't. And so back to effects, I see El Rey though.
Did you get rated at El Rey?
Dude, so yeah. So then I see El Rey. I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's running. There was like a Mexican national that had purchased or leased it and done a lot of renovations there. And then I don't know what happened to him, but so it was open again. And I had rented it from Kathy for this event for these guys called the 12s out of Brazil, which if you guys don't know the 12s, I saw a tweet come out from them like this week, and they haven't tweeted in like years, like they fell off, but they had some of the best remixes that you could ever, they were so far ahead of their time. It's like Daft Punk meets the 80s. It was so sick. And they were out of Brazil. I brought them, and that was a cool event. And then I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do another one. So I go bigger this time, and I bring freaking Excision, and and then the casino opened up too. Yeah. So I was doing events over there, but that was all 21 plus as well. So I'm doing events at the casino. I do Laid Back Luke at the stage at the Star, and then I do Excision on Valentine's Day, and I'm running them both at the same time. And so the one at El Rey is this huge, it's 2 semi-trucks, Excision's production, like everything's so sick. We have all these stage, and we're like running, and it's just a very professional event. And then I get raided by like 30 cops. I'm in the box office, and I'm like, guys, like this isn't a rave. I'm like, do you see the semi-trucks outside? Do you see like the ticket price? This is a very professional, this is a concert, like this. And at the time, I had the word rave was the worst. It was poison. You couldn't use the word rave.
But what does a raid at that magnitude with like 30 cops look like when you're having an event in full swing? What is that like? What even happened?
Dude, it was so embarrassing. I mean, like you have 30 cops come in. We didn't let anybody in yet, but there was a line out the door. It was like right when doors were going to open, and they had planned this, and they're like, we're going to come in 30 cops deep, and we're going to find so much drugs and underage and all this stuff, and they found obviously nothing, and it was just nothing but a professional setting. But this is probably something I should have probably sued the owner of the building at the time, but then it wouldn't have allowed me to keep moving with the venue. But I'm like, if they're saying she didn't have the correct permits, they said she needed to have a celebratory or it was some sort of gathering permit or something because she hadn't kept up with things or something like that. I'm like, well, she's renting it out, and you're screwing me because I'm out all this money for this tour, and I have to refund everybody and pay for the tour.
So the show was done.
Done. They listened to me and heard everything, and I should have had my attorney there or something.
What did the artist say?
And well, hold on, the main guy, he's since retired, was like, kind of came to like with me and was like, dude, this is not what we thought it was, but we have 30 cops here. There's no way we're not shutting this down. Like, it's happening, dude. Like, nothing you could do about it. And when he was like, we're too invested. I was like, once I heard that, I was like, screw it. All right, have fun shutting us down or whatever. I'm out. Just bounced it to the casino, and I had another sold out show there, luckily, or else I would have probably been bankrupt.
At least you had Luke. Luke is awesome.
No, but that's why I took the profit from that to pay for the artist, because I had to refund every kid who bought a ticket, and I was able to survive. But like, that would have put me out. That would have taken me out for sure. At the time, dude, I mean, I was just starting out, and I'm like 30 grand deep into the artist and the tour that I have to refund, and then 30 grand in tickets I have to, it just wasn't good.
There's significant events that you have put together, like stuff like unique ones that like nobody sees at like the level that you would expect. For example, like some of like your mansion party.
Oh, God. Okay, and then there's events that I've done that I'm not proud of. I should be probably gone to jail, or I'm lucky nobody got hurt at that one, honestly.
I want to know about something with a basement in Chris Lake.
Oh, that was a cool event. That was a really cool event. That was the first time we brought Chris Lake. Funny story too, Carrie, who is a part owner, she and Bobby own Effects.
Yeah.
And Carrie came to the Chris Lake event. That was at the Hilton, I think that's the Crown Plaza.
Yeah.
Whatever hotel off University and I-40. And
I think, yeah.
They have a basement down there, and I was just touring properties. Dude, I was so hungry. I was looking for venues. We didn't have venues here, and so I'm like looking around anywhere I can. I'm like going to basements of freaking hotels, and I'm like, what do you got? And so they showed me this, and I was like,
and they were pretty susceptible of like just receiving like
definitely everybody wants like this youth to come in, and our alcohol sales at the time were higher, and so it was good. It was like reviving a lot of different places that needed that revenue. I mean, this is still post. I just told you 2007, 2008 when I started was because the economy crashed, dude. We didn't come back to like 2018. It was like 10 years of just a very soft economy. I know most people don't really remember it. They're too young, but it sucked. And that's when Effects started, and they were the home of a $10 ticket and a $5 beer and stuff. So anyway, so I'm searching around. This hotel needs people, and then they allowed me to do some events in there. And one of them was Chris Lake in their basement. Problem is with these type of things is like the security was good, and we had safety issues were fine and stuff like that. There's just no power. These places aren't meant for these kind of scales. So like the sound system was meh, and like the lighting was meh. But we all still had a good time.
And my team last night, we have DJs in town from like Mexico and Brazil and like all the way from like Taiwan and stuff like that are like touring over here. Last night we had about like four times the breakers kept going out in this like gym.
Oh man, yeah.
So
there's nothing worse than being limited on power. And so again, also why freaking Revel's amazing. They've got 800 amps for me to mess around
Danny
with.
is doing so
much. Dude, we got to talk about it too. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's single-handedly changing the entire landscape of the music industry in Albuquerque.
I have to ask you about RL Grime. I was told to ask you about RL Grime.
Okay, so we bring Chris Lake to this basement. Carrie comes. I got to finish this. Very, very fun. She comes, runs in to this dude she hasn't seen since high school.
Yeah.
They fall freaking in love. Blaine. They're married today with a kid, live in Tennessee. They're fantastic. It was so awesome.
Wait, Carrie's not even in Albuquerque?
She comes up very often.
Okay.
But she has this farm out there. It's a really beautiful thing. But they meet there, and they're married, and they're happy, and it's so awesome. So that's why we do this too, by the way. But yes, so RL Grime. First off, I didn't even tell you guys. I tried to start my own club here.
Yeah.
I tried to start my own club in another hotel. It was called the Parkin by Radisson.
Yeah.
And so I start this with a buddy, and we opened a club called The Drop.
That's
and
literally my next one.
Of The Drop was that we could drop in and be like a drop-in nightclub in different spaces. So this was going to be our home. And then when it didn't work out, that's when I moved to the Crown Plaza. I was like, I got all this stuff, and I can like drop it, and we'll be a drop-in club. And so anyway, I started this nightclub, and I'm getting to RL Grime. I book him first, but I book him as Clockwork. So he had another alias that he was doing a lot of called Clockwork. It was his house music alias. And then he had been doing RL Grime at the same time. And so RL Grime really blew up like crazy. Yeah. So he stopped doing Clockwork and just only did RL Grime. So that was the first time I actually brought Henry. Then the second time was maybe El Rey, and then a third time maybe El Rey. Yeah. And then the second time I brought him, that we like way oversold that show, and the demand was so high, and I can't say no. Now I can say no. Oh my gosh. Once it's sold out, I'm like, we're sold out. We don't do another ticket, dude. And but this one we'd pushed El Rey to like 1,500. And I was like, the kids are small. It'll be great. No, you don't do it anymore. But it was I'm like, oh, Mr. Safe, and then I tell you that I oversold the show. But, times were tough. But we brought Al Grime out, and he was fantastic. I just think that a lot of people remember that, and I got a lot of backlash from overselling it, and so I'm like, oh yeah, we can't do that anymore.
There was one specific thing that I needed to ask you about your history with specifically UNM in the tailgate category.
Oh, dude, yeah. You are reminding me of some great times, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, so the Johnson Field, same thing. UNM's like, how do we get younger people to come to our football events and stay? And I'm like, let's throw a tailgate. And so then I'm like, I have him running El Rey. That was a whole other thing too. So like I didn't have an event, then I got kicked out, blah, blah, blah. I end up leasing El Rey with
Were you at UNM at the time or no? This was just like...
No, I had graduated. I should have graduated. I was there like 6 years, but never actually. And so, no, I wasn't. But we were connected with the university hand in hand. Like I was doing a lot of their booking, helping with their bookings with the SSC Johnson Field event. Fiestas. Like I booked Carnage, and then I threw an after party for him at El Rey, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And then so I was ingrained with them, and they wanted me to do the tailgate parties. So I brought all this sound and everything from El Rey, and I rented generators and the trucks and the crew and the stage and all this stuff. And they provided the barricade and the security, and it was like a good relationship. And we had like 8,000, I think, at like one of our tailgates. And that biggest one was with Felix Cartel. I had him play the night before and then had him come or stay, and he played this party. and then he had to go play El Paso, and it was with these guys, SMG, who hated me, who tried to kick me out of Sunshine Theater. So I'm like, you can't kick me down, keep me down. And so I get Felix Cartel. He has this event out there, and he misses his flight because he gets too loaded at the tailgate, and which is great because I'm like, we got a party bus. I'll rent you this party bus, and we'll drive you to El Paso. It's quicker to drive anyway because the flight from Albuquerque to El Paso is always
so you got to drop him off at the secondary event,
and then we go So we drive him to El Paso. And we just party on this bus all together. There's like 8 of us. This is actually something that we just vowed to never talk about, but it's been like over like a decade or something. But so we drive down in this party bus, like the 8 of us just partying, and we get there to his event. He's on in like 5 minutes. They're freaking out. Where are you coming? Are you behind me? We show up in this party bus, SMG guys, stumbling out of the bus. I'm like, what's up? So like, I hate Steven. I hate this guy.
So you got him completely sloshed 5 minutes before his...
On the bus, on the way down there, and we showed up, and they hate me because they don't like me in Albuquerque as it is, and I show up to their venue as the VIP with the Felix Cartel.
Out of all the artists that... This is like a 2-part question, but like out of all the artists that you've brought in, who is the one that you personally, with you and your team, have partied the hardest with?
I don't think we could have partied harder than Felix Cartel. But there's been a lot. I don't know.
Who's your top 3?
There was a time where I was really into the party. Like I was doing this because I loved it so much. I wasn't like doing it for the money or anything like that. And
it pays good though.
Still don't. I mean, it's good, but I don't know. I feel like I don't think you can get super rich in Albuquerque or anything, and like in order to do that, like I have to jump to finance, and that's how I'm making most of my money is through finance, but and still through trading, like I talked about what I was doing in 2007, like still doing now. So that's the real thing. But so I like to give back a lot too, and I would like to get to a point where I can do a lot of free shows for people and stuff like that too.
I feel like every time there's been a free show that I've seen, like not necessarily in the category of like what you guys are doing, but just like it never pops off. Like people don't find value in like free events, and so they'll just find value in like a $10, even if it's like $10, they'll be like,
they would if it's an artist they love. So like I was actually thinking about this. I go on walks every day, and on my daily walk today, I was like, dude, like Digifunk is selling this Function One system, and I'm like, man, maybe I should buy that. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with this Function One system? And I was like, but if I had it, then I could like roll up at a park. I could set up my own stage. I could pay for an artist, like nothing crazy, maybe like $1,500, $2,000 artist to come down, play a little day party before they go off to play somewhere else, set up at a park, and just be like, pop up. I've got, Odd Nom or somebody like come in to stop here before he goes to Vegas or whatever. Free show on a Function One system or whatever, and then I was like, at that point I would just pay Digifunk to set up or whatever.
Have you seen the format that music artists are kind of like switch? I feel like almost like every 8 months there's like a new wave of like a new trend that the music artists try to get on or try to see. The All American Rejects is doing like this like house tour kind of like backyard thing. And a lot of DJs, like for example, Diplo is known for doing a lot of pop-ups, like in the weirdest places, from like under a tent in a beach to like doing stuff in, like in a tunnel for like 80 people. And so like, do you feel like a pop-up over here with something like with Viva ABQ would ever be possible?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like I'm saying, like I want next summer, hopefully I'm in a place where I can do like a lot of cooler pop-ups, but I don't know where, like a coffee shop would be cool, and like you have to like keep it safe, and that's just going to cost. Like I'm not going to do like a pop-up where it's not like the infrastructure is there. Like the sound has to be super on point, and I want like security, and I want like EMS, and I want all of that stuff. So it costs a lot of money. So that's the way I would want to do a pop-up. Probably not just like under a tunnel or something like that.
Not like, we're doing a party right now and then just like everybody come through. One of the things that I've wanted to ask is out of all of the shows that I've seen a really unique thing that not very many people are highlighting or understanding the value behind it, in having a connection with you being like present in the current local music scene and kind of forcing every show to come through, having a local person on the lineup. Why do you do that? I want to kind of understand. Well, I kind of want to understand what is your reasoning between like giving a spotlight to the local, because a lot of people are like, hell, if I'm going to bring like a Skrillex and I'm spending this much money, why would I want to put it on somebody that is not at the same value that could sell me more tickets? You're putting everybody on. And so,
dude, you got to. That's the whole reason. Your local DJ scene, that economy is like, those are the movers and the shakers of the scene, dude. Like, they're the ones who love it the most. They are the ones who have probably dedicated so much time and hours and passion to it. You gotta reward them. And it's not even that. It's rewarding for me because they promote really hard. They are so passionate about it. Seeing somebody that is like, they're like, oh my God, and they're nervous. They're like, I revel. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing. I'm like, dude, that's the freaking coolest thing ever. That is literally the coolest thing ever. Don't act like an a-hole, and be like professional, and don't get yourself sloshed before the set even starts, or go try to party in the dressing room and and make me look like an idiot. Like, keep things professional, and that's amazing. Then I'm gonna have you again.
So what is the craziest marketing tactic that you've seen a local artist do at one of your, to get tickets or just try to announce it?
They brought cookies. Not just kidding.
Listen, I feel like I'm up there, but not.
No. What you mean, like to get onto a show?
Well, yeah, like because like for example, like I've seen different types of coordinators like invite a local, and then they'll be like, hey, market, or like we want to see like what you're doing. What is something that you've seen that has caught your attention? That how do basically music artists locally get your attention?
Right, they don't. No, like they don't. I give them a platform on Discord for them to say, hey, I want to apply for the show or whatever, but I'm like, I remember one time this kid was so upset because he's like, Steven, are you not choosing me specifically because you don't like me? Is it because I'm friends with this girl, Kim? And I'm like, dude, I don't hire you because I don't know you. I've never heard of you. You don't exist.
How do you want music artists to approach you?
What you got to do is you got to like make a brand for yourself, and then you got to make and show us value, and you got to do these things outside of me just giving it to you. It's like they're so entitled sometimes, but the ones that really shine, like yourself, are the ones that aren't entitled, the ones that hustle. And like they do their own thing and have their own following, have their own brand, and then I have to book them. I'm like, dude, I want Chatador, I want Water John, I want Esquire. I want these people who are actually like putting together, making music, making a brand for themselves, and like and making it happen. So where I'm like, I want them to play, not like I guess. Yeah.
There's a lot of like, I feel.
Where's the branding?
I feel like there's a lot of music artists here locally that they have the artistry. They just don't get noticed very much in the New Mexico market. Like for example, shout out Blood Vision. They like Rez. like plays their music like all the time at like Coachella or like at EDC or like
Arceus, like,
yeah,
same
Arceus
thing.
too.
Yeah.
Like we have like Water John is doing like
sure.
like Subtronics is like literally
Water
watching
John,
his
I'm sorry,
play.
I owe you a call. That guy wants to chat about. He's getting, yeah, like you said, noticed out of state. He said, no, I mean, I think that's fantastic. I think Blood Vision is going about it in a very different kind of way, which I respect to a point. But I think they're going about it too much, in my personal opinion, where it like kind of it. And maybe they're gonna. I really hope they're so talented, by the way, and really nice.
I love it. Shout out,
my wife did their trademark. I've told them this, so this is no. I feel like they should play some local shows.
Yeah.
I do think that a lot of artists locally play too much, like they oversaturate themselves. I think that realistically, if you're not doing like parties yourself and stuff like that, and you're just playing to play out, to get your crowd to come out, they can probably only do that maybe once a month. And that might be too much. And I think the Blood Vision guys are going to be, their music's fantastic. And actually, on their credit, they did agree to play a show for me. They were really excited about it, seemed like, but the agency felt they were too hard for the headliner that we had. So I'd love to get them back on something else, but I do feel like they need to play some, even if it's once a year or something like that, local show.
My favorite thing that I love to kind of pick at is kind of understanding, like, not necessarily your favorites, but what have you seen as a format that works here with somebody that's been here for a good amount of time? I've looked at like local legends, for example, like Wyatt Lawson or like Burn the Disco or like Explicit. Like these people have put a lot of like work, but like from an event coordinator's perspective on like a music strategy, what do you think is like the best business advice to give to like local DJs that are trying to break it into that market, into that scene?
So going back to Blood Vision, for example, I think the way they're doing it is so smart. In a sense, but I'm just saying they need to play a couple local shows, but they are very smart. Here's why.
That's the point. Blood Vision just needs to play shows.
Play a show with me. No, but that's great. See how much I want them to play a show. But they what they're doing is they aren't like so dazzled by the local hype. And they're not in it for the party, they're in it for the music, and they're in it for the music in their brand. So what they're focusing on solely is production, and branding. And so they're coming out with bangers, and then Rez picks it up and plays it, and then all of a sudden they're like making a name for themselves and getting booked, and out of state. What I don't want to see happen is the Shins move, where they're from Albuquerque, but you go to their IMDb or whatever, and it shows that they say they're from Portland because they're just embarrassed to say that they're from Albuquerque, and they just are like, and they don't want to play Albuquerque and stuff like that. And I think that's shitty. Excuse me.
You can say fuck. It's fine.
Okay. I should have asked that. No, but I'm trying to not say that as much. But so I think the way that they're going about it is very smart, and they're focused on the music. And I feel like the local DJs, and I'm not saying any of the people that you'd mentioned are not doing this, because I know they are. I know Wyatt's thrown out some bangers and stuff too. But it's just work on music, dude. I think that is the thing, because at the end of the day, well, the two things are going to drive, and I'm going to notice. One is your branding, and I know that sucks. Like, you don't want to be like necessarily a marketer. You want to be an artist, and you want to create music. But unfortunately, the most successful people, I feel like it goes hand in hand. And you've got to get in there in front of people. And like, dude, your TikToks are amazing. You've got a good way of doing that.
I'm like in my underwear in my kitchen, like talking
Who
shit on
cares?
Albuquerque.
I'm like, what's he saying? Listen, Albuquerque, I got a problem. And I'm like, dude, what's the problem?
My favorite type of thing that I've been looking into, specifically with the history of like what you've booked over here and what you've gotten your hands in, I am so confused because like your forefront is a lot of like the EDM shows, but you've done everything from like Gypsy Kings. You've done
those guys are creeps.
Like Snoop, bro. I'm gonna tell you something off camera. So, Snoop Dogg. I want to know, how on earth did you get connected with Tom Segura?
Dude, he saw my last name and was like, "Are you my brother?" No, I'm just kidding. No, we were just going after comedy. I was working with these guys, Aftershock, or something. I forget their name, Jeff. Anyways, and they were kind of like engineering students or whatever at UNM, and they wanted to get into comedy, and so he just like went after a bunch of different comedians, and we weren't getting a lot of comedy here, and so Tom Segura was like maybe our sixth comedy show, and we just thought he was funny and wanted to go after him, and the agent said yes, so we booked him at El Rey, and sold out. And so I had to get a picture with them because I was like, I know you don't normally do this, but I was like, we share the same last name. And he was like, no way. So one of my favorite pictures is my arm around Tom Segura. We have that photo. And then we went down into the speakeasy and drank whiskey for 3 or 4 hours after the show
He
together.
is so cool.
And he was so nice. And he just talked about his wife the whole time. And it was really beautiful. I really respect the guy. He's very crass sense of humor, which is hilarious to me, but actually a very, very genuine, cool guy.
He's really, really cool. I wish I had that experience. I saw him, we were filming a movie together in Corrales most recently, and he was like, there's a movie coming out called El Tigre on Netflix that he's like naked and doing a bunch of stuff. All of us are there while doing cocaine, and it's crazy. So so that's my first impression with him itself. What is probably like the most outlandish show you've participated in outside of like the EDM realm?
Dude, Gypsy Kings was pretty outlandish. They were, yes, you've named a lot of, we brought a ton of metal. We brought a lot of indie. I did bring the Shins, so they don't come in, did bring them. Third Eye Blind was one of my favorite bands ever.
They're like now doing like huge ass arenas. Like now they're coming over to I think like the First Financial.
Oh my gosh!
No, I think it's a Sandia. Actually, Sandia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's Sandia.
We're right at that age demo where it's like, go to Sandia.
So the all the elder emos are coming back into it's coming back into rotation.
So is the classic dance acts like Flux Pavilion, dude. Even like Funk Case and stuff. Those are going to be really, really good shows.
I have to figure out how to ask this question because we're down to our last two. Okay, well, basically, now I want to kind of see what are like your biggest frustrations specifically with the audiences that you kind of have been dealing with, because like what I feel is a lot of people don't know too much about you or know what goes on behind the scenes in putting a show, and it's not as simple as just like, oh, I'm just going to throw a show and I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to sell you a ticket, here you go. It's like there's the safeties, there's the production, there's everything. What is the biggest frustration that you feel like the audience should be a little bit more aware of, or that is like a common problem that you have to deal with over here with your brand?
I think that it's, for the most part, honestly, the guests are amazing. Yeah. Like the community really is amazing. The shows, like we seldom have fights. It's like weird when you see a fight at a show. Yeah. I love the new generation that's come in like post-pandemic. Like honestly, they've reinvigorated me. Yeah. So there's not really like a ton of complaint. I would say the most complaint is like the normies, honestly, like the normies will come because the scene is growing so much, and then they come in and they don't have the plur or whatever, and they think it's like a normal metal show or something, and they're not very nice, and I think that kind of sucks. Yeah. But I feel like the most part, I really want to give credit where credit's due, and the new generation of kids that come are freaking, I don't know, they're super rad. Like, and drinking is not even like the biggest thing anymore for them, and I love that. And they really are have heart for the music, and so I get a lot of flack sometimes when something is this, that, or another, and I think it's just their passion. And I'm like, dude, if you care enough to like complain to me about this kind of stuff, like I'm like, I gotta give you like credit.
You respond back to like every, I guess like not necessarily like hate comment, but like criticism and stuff like that. You give like answers detailed and stuff. How do you feel like first of all, why do you have such an open like conversation with everybody? You're so accessible because so many other event coordinators, they're just like, here you go, and like, because that's it.
A lot of people I feel like I'm making moves that are very thought out and logical, and I feel like if they have something to say, I can speak at them with logic, and if it doesn't seem to go anywhere, then so there's some people you can't talk to or whatever. But I want there to be an open format, like an open person, and you're taking their hard-earned money. I feel like they should be able to voice their opinions to you.
I feel like you've built such a strong brand over here because of like the amount of communication. People don't just feel like it's just somebody that's coming in here throwing a show and then just trying to make money. It's like people are coming in here and able to talk to you, able to kind of see the intimacy, hearing some of the feedback, creating something that's so new and fresh every single time. You throw everything from like throwback type of stuff all the way up to like this new age. You listen to kind of like some of the craziest stuff. What is probably one of the hardest artists that you've had to not necessarily work with, but just hardest to book, to bring down here? What is like the most satisfying show you've done?
Honestly,
kind of like
that Chris Lake show was one of the hardest. It was really tough. Like they're not gonna play like any market or any venue. Zoo, some of the artists that we're booking have been some of the hardest ones that I've been chasing for a decade, dude. I've been chasing Zoo for a decade to play Albuquerque, but there was no venue. Like he played Meow Wolf and stuff, but that's just because like he thought it was like really cool and niche, and not because like that wasn't a money maker for him. He took a hit to play that. Chris Lake was tough. I think those are honestly like two of the hardest that I've ever when I sought after them.
It's funny to see how unique decisions that you've made over like the last like 10 years, watching some of the events that you've done, from doing stuff like intense with like Getter to like doing like double, triple shows with like Black Tiger Sex Machine at El Rey. What are some of the decisions that you have to make in order to be able to kind of like, with these artists, to kind of adapt their shows? Like what's the craziest adaptation that you've had to do in order to be able to bring an artist down and kind of fulfill a contract with a show?
Well, I mean, it happens a lot more, a lot less often now that we have Revel. So we'd always have to get creative when it was just El Rey, because El Rey was the largest privately owned venue the city until Revel. And I said privately owned, not publicly owned. Like Albuquerque owns a lot of things like Kiva and stuff like that, but I want privately owned venues to throw these concerts. And so we'd just have, if they want to play Albuquerque, they had to adapt. That was really it.
What is the hardest artist to work with production-wise? Because when you've had artists such as like Dat Sick bringing in like multiple generators coming into the venue, or like having like Excision level type of production or stuff like that, what is the hardest level of like production that you've had to work with any type of artist?
The hardest production was, everything was really tough at El Rey. Everything was really tough at El Rey. I mean, when you don't have the power, you have a 1941-year-old constructed building with old wood beams instead of steel. You can't, like, people don't understand, dude, you need fly points, you need rigging capabilities, you need power, you need all of this stuff. You need, that's like not a rickety floor or things like that. And no offense to them, it's just like they pull a permit and they're going to have to update all kinds of things, millions of dollars of things. So it's like really tough. Whereas Revel was kind of built from the ground up, and it's got all the new bells and whistles. And so, I can do, a Subtronics with a roof system, or Chris Lake with a roof system. We couldn't do roof system with Subtronics. There was something about the rigging point that wasn't there for that show. But once Danny knew about it, then he had his engineers there and welders welding and had it ready to go for the next week, so we'd never have that problem again. And honestly, I want to say, dude, Danny and the Chavez family have been like such a blessing to work with. Like they're truly like family. We talk with them every day, at least somebody from.
He's funny because he's done everything from like fitness, comedy. Like he's his love for entertainment is very apparent. It's very fun to see kind of how like.
It's not stopping here, man. It's not stopping here with the new venue that he's pursuing. He's got 2 new venues eventually in the next 5 years, probably another 2 of them.
My last question to you is basically, what people don't see is that you kind of break up a lot of your stuff in seasons. So with this new quarter coming up, what do you think what do you want to tell people, or what are you allowed to say about what's coming up?
Yeah, definitely. So speaking on that 360 question, and our love for it, and it seemed to be the real hype with a lot of artists, and they were just like banging down our door to play it. So I was just like, okay. Said yes to everybody. And then I lost focus on like big concert style shows. And that like got me kind of depressed. Like I know like a lot of people were like, and I get it. And I'm like, man, I know this first 6 months of the year was hard. We haven't had a full blown 3,000 cap concert style show at Revel in 6 months. It will be 7 months before we finally, or 8 months before Crank That comes or something like that. But like I won't ever do that again. I need the big shows. Like that gives us so much like firepower on production spend, and it's so fun. And my technicians like, oh, loved it. You know, Zane like wants all the lights and he wants all the bells and whistles, and we want that sound just to. So I am more than making that up for the second half of the year to answer that question. You know, we've announced Crank That, Zoo. We'll probably open up Level Up and may make her concert style. I don't know.
I'm excited
sales
for
are going crazy for that one. We've got so many more booked that we are just going to be announcing as the weeks progress. Like we announced most of our September stuff. I got one more, like an Aoki or Galantis I'm going to announce soon. And then we have our October calendar, which is like, oh my gosh. And then November, we have more. We've announced Zoo, but I've got another show that's literally the very night after Zoo that is just insane. The community is going to go so crazy. Yeah. So crazy for it. I don't know. I hope we're ready.
There is one question that I remembered that one of our people on our page demanded that we ask you this. So you've done a lot of festivals. You've done everything from like parade base. You've done like unique shows. Like even like during COVID, I think you were trying to bring in like a drive-in like concert. You were doing a bunch of different. A lot of people are asking, are you getting back into the Are you going to bring more festivals? Are you going to try to build something?
Not more. But I have unfinished business with one, and so yeah. Over the COVID, pandemic, we tried to bring in this movie theater, and I tried working with the Balloon Fiesta staff, and I was like, whoa. We had a directive from the mayor and everything to like roll out the carpet, and I was like, dang, I'm too old to be working with a venue partner that doesn't want me here, and I can tell they don't want me here. And since then, I'm like trying, and I've tried different areas. I've tried parking lots. I've tried the field by the pavilion with Zed's Dead. I've tried everywhere, dude. There is just no real estate in Friga, New Mexico, or Albuquerque that can host a large-scale concert except for Balloon Fiesta Field. So my unfinished business is to produce a large-scale concert at Balloon Fiesta Field next year, and I will not take no for an answer, and I don't care if the staff doesn't want me there, and I don't care if I hear all these no's and all of these things that come up, dude. There's so many that have come up already. They don't have the date. Oh, well, we contacted a venue or a coordinator who had a fun run, and we asked him very nicely if we can have his date, and he said yes. And he was like, I know how important the local promoters are, so he gives us his date. We go back to Balloon Fiesta. We got a date, and they're like, well, your event may still not get approved because the grass. We don't know about the grass. And I'm like, grass. What about? And then I come to find out that because of the way like the balloons run and stuff, they don't have like sprinklers. I think like just everywhere, so they can't zone it out. So when they turn on the sprinkler system, I think it's just sprinkles the whole thing.
I just found out that they also do golfing out there.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool course. I like to play. It's you don't bring like a driver. It's a small little course, but it's fun. And so we come up with solutions on watering the grass. You need water truck and some people to come out there and water the grass while you're setting up and stuff. And so there's solutions for it. I just feel like you need to come up with those solutions, and you have to talk with the mayor and stuff and let them know what's going on, and then they'll be open to it. So we're really excited for our meeting with the mayor and with city council in the coming weeks, and I'm so excited to talk about all of the issues that I've run into and the fixes and how we can grow the economy and bring a lot of tax revenue in, and bring a lot of people into Albuquerque in general. You throw a John Summit, people are going to fly in to see him and stuff. Obviously he's taking a hiatus right now, but Odessa, people will come for that, and so that's what I'm really eyeing right now is like a 1 to 2 day, may end up being 2 day just for economic reasons, like you can use the stage twice, stuff like that. But to throw a really large scale festival, hopefully on June 5th of 2027 at Balloon Fiesta Park. And the unfinished business is with my old Somos team that I had worked for almost a decade to try to produce a really large scale concert. We were trying to build it from the ground up, and I think that you need to build it kind of from the top down, which is just slam Albuquerque with something really shiny you know, where they're like, we don't get this. Oh my gosh, something they could be so proud of, and that the whole city will just rally behind that really awesome party, and then do well and tax revenue and keep it safe, and yeah, I think that'd be fun. But outside of that, we've got a new venue with Revel that they're building right next door. That's going to be I don't know the cap size yet until the city approves it, but we're looking at he's looking at hopefully a 4,000 cap round outdoor amphitheater space. And I think that's going to be a complete game changer and change the landscape
it's gonna be huge.
of Albuquerque.
A lot of people it opens so many doors, but
Dude,
honestly, it really does mean a lot that you let me hold you hostage for like an hour and a half just talking. We could talk for like 3 more hours.
Oh yeah, that flew, dude. I didn't even get to talk about the other gifts I had brought.
Where can people find you?
I mean, you can find me directly on the Discord, on the Viva Discord, which is, I think is, you just search Vivaabq or something like that on Discord and it should pop up. There's a link in our link tree at the bottom on our Instagram. And of course you can find us at vivaabq.com for all of our event listings and stuff. But if you join the Discord, you get to Discord with all of the community and myself, and it's a lot of fun.
I want to personally thank you, dude. Like, you've added so much value to this area. There literally, I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, without you and Ata and like all these people bringing in everything and all this momentum in the EDM scene, we wouldn't have anything here. Literally, we would have.
Dude, there's people like Joe Anderson. I mean, Zeus, like I said, from Sister is doing a lot. Meow Wolf's doing a lot. It definitely is a smaller niche community that's bringing it. There's just a few people that are bringing like all of the acts and stuff. But you got to do it for the love of it. That's for sure.
Well, the next time that I work with you, I'm going to bring my fanny pack.
Oh, yes. I don't go anywhere without it. I'm a big fanny pack guy. So if you see me, you're like, oh, the dude with the fanny pack and the mustache, that's got to be Steven. So.
Dude, I fucking love you. Thank you guys so much.
Likewise, bro.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
that was awesome.
There we go. I think we're good.